Allow me to introduce myself.
I am the last sane sports fan.
I am a genius by trade.
I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy?
Hello everyone and welcome once again to The View from the Midwest. A couple quick topics that I want to get to today, so let's do it. First of all, the NBA Finals are now set. It's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors. It's going to be an interesting contrast of styles because you got the high-flying offense, shoot it from anywhere on the court, team-oriented game of the Golden State Warriors versus the LeBron-centered, going to grind it out, let's take it down deep, get the forceful play going, use your size advantage against everybody of the Cleveland Cavaliers. If Golden State is healthy and they shoot the ball the way that they can, I actually think that they're going to win this series. But a lot of that depends on whether Kyrie Irving is healthy for Cleveland or not, and what LeBron James does, because LeBron James, as painful as it is for me to admit, is doing his best to pull off what Michael Jordan did with the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, when they won that record, 72 games plus, ended up being one of the best NBA teams of all time. But it was still because of Michael Jordan. Especially the first three championships, Michael Jordan elevated everybody on that team. Scottie Pippen was a hell of an NBA player. He probably does deserve to be in the names of the 50 greatest NBA players of all time. But if he never played with Michael Jordan, I don't know that he would have reached those kind of levels. And right now, that is what LeBron James is doing. He can have a bad game and still hit the game-winning shot. He can shoot terribly from three-point range and still hit a game-winning shot from three-point range. He puts the team on his shoulders when and if needed, and basically says, "Come on, guys, I'm going to take you there. All you have to do are the little things to help me get there." And right now he is doing that. And I still believe that Michael Jordan is ultimately the better player, simply because his will to win and his determination to make sure that his teammates were going to be held accountable in every single situation is just so astounding that I don't know that anybody can easily catch up to him. LeBron, maybe if he gets to 4 or 5 championships, can be mentioned in that same breath. But right now, again, as much as it pains me, I do believe LeBron James is doing enough to at least kind of start that conversation about being mentioned as one of the greats of all time, along with Michael Jordan. Still a ways to go, but he's almost there. Taking a neutral standpoint, I do believe that Golden State can win. I do believe that they will win, but it's going to be a long series. I expect this one to go at least 6, which would be a big change from the disappointing semifinal rounds or conference finals, if you will, because the games individually, most of them were okay, but as a series, they were all horrible. One was a sweep, one ended in 5 games, and hopefully for NBA fans, you see a much better, much tighter finals series. Moving on now, I want to talk a little bit about St. Louis FC. If you can see the shirt that I'm wearing here, they had an absolutely spectacular U.S. Open Cup game. And if you live in the St. Louis area, even if you mildly enjoy soccer, go out and see one of these games. I'm not getting paid by this team. I'm not a sponsor or anything like that. I just advocate good, fun soccer. It's not top level. You're not going to see people who are going to be playing over in Europe in 5 or 6 years. But it's a fun time at Soccer Park. They play good soccer, decent soccer most of the time, and they've improved pretty much every game. I have season tickets right now, and basically every single game they've gotten better. Really, the only thing that they need to work on now Other than a few passing and kind of knowing where teammates are going to be in certain situations, is finishing. They need to start finishing chances because if you look at last night's game in and of itself, there were probably 3 or 4 chances that if they put that away, the game doesn't go to overtime. It doesn't go to penalty kicks. St. Louis FC ends up winning 4 or 5-1. Instead, they're unable to pull away their chances. It ends up being a 1-1 tie, go to overtime, nobody scores, goes to penalty kicks. St. Louis FC wins in a thrilling penalty kick shootout. Big time save by Mark Pace. He really deserved a lot of credit for his coverage in the net. He disrupted the shooters, kind of got into their head, did an excellent job. Coach Brad Jones really working with the goalkeepers of St. Louis FC. You got to give a shout out to him. He's done an excellent job as well. And it's just a really entertaining time. So again, I'm trying to be an advocate here for the team, but just in general, if you like soccer at all, go out and see this team. Support soccer in St. Louis. Even if you're one of those kind of snobs that's like, well, I only like the Premier League, or I'm waiting until we get an MLS team. If you want an MLS team in St. Louis, you got to support this team. That's the best way to get it done. If you're kind of a Euro snob, there's nothing I can tell you that's really going to change your mind. I still think you should go out, watch this. Just support local guys playing the sport and trying to make it professionally. Because there's a few internationals as well. James Musa from England, he's an excellent player as well, one of the best on the team. So, in conclusion, go out, see him. It's a good time. Next thing we want to talk about, the coaching things that are going on right now. And we talked a little bit about this in our last episode with Ken Hitchcock coming back with the St. Louis Blues. Another instance is right now as we approach the silly season or the off season, which really it's an interesting term that is applied to the European soccer off season, and really it applies to a lot of sports. It's a very appropriate name, really, when you think about it, because the amount of rumors that go on. This guy's coming in, this guy's going to get traded for that guy. Oh, this club is going to go after this player and spend $50 million. It's just an odd time. But back to the coaching aspect of it. I'm glad the St. Louis Blues brought back Ken Hitchcock. I think that was the wise decision. If you take Liverpool, for example, if you cannot bring in Jurgen Klopp, then to me bringing back Brendan Rodgers is the right thing. And I know that Liverpool fans are up in arms. They want Brendan Rodgers' head. They want him gone. They want the Fenway Sports Group to make big changes. And perhaps, I will fully admit that perhaps this is just from an American mindset, because we have a different way of doing things in our professional sports over here than is more customary over in Europe. But I don't understand this mentality that if you don't get what you want right away, that all of a sudden changes have to be made. Sometimes it's better, although more difficult from a fan's point of view, to go through a few growing pains, build a system, build a way of trying to play that comes from within, instead of just saying, well, we think the players that we have right now are okay, so we're going to change the manager. Okay, well, he's going to change all the players now because he has to fit his style of play now. You can't continually make changes and expect to get big results. Liverpool is one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the most popular clubs in the world, but they're still not bringing in the kind of money that Barcelona is, that Real Madrid is, that unfortunately their big rival Manchester United is. So you can't necessarily go out and just freely just dump money on big name players that you don't necessarily know are going to pan out. Now, I fully admit that Brendan Rodgers has not been good when it comes to summer transfer windows. I like the guy. I like his coaching style. I do think that his press conference rhetoric gets a little tiresome at times. But in terms of the tactics that he puts out on the field, from Christmas until March, for 2 straight seasons, he's had the best team in Europe. Not just in England, but in Europe. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, once the springtime hits, the team kind of wears down, or his tactics get a little bit old, or he tries to change too many things. But for whatever reason, he can't seem to finally put that final nail in the coffin. But I don't necessarily think that that means that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's a situation where the grass is not always greener on the other side. I have been forced to live this painfully. Now, granted, it's not European football, it's American football with my university, the University of Kansas. But under Mark Mangino, we had an excellent record. Teams went to bowl games. They were winning bowl games. We won an Orange Bowl. We had a chance at a national championship spot. Probably wouldn't have won it, but still, to be able to say that the University of Kansas was almost in a national championship spot is a huge coup for that school. One incident goes down. It was kind of a he said, she said. At the time, I understood why they released Mark Mangino. Looking back, I wish that they had not. Because, quite frankly, the University of Kansas is a school where if you can get to 500, quite frankly, you're a demigod in the ranks of coaching. And Mark Mangino was doing an excellent job of progressing that team. They had one great season, fell back a little bit. Fans start getting up in arms, but as though they've been champions of the world for 5 straight years. Well, look what happens. Now, all of a sudden, they're one of the worst teams in all of the United States. Not just in Division I, but in college football in general. Because they brought in a couple coaches that really just did not have a clue about how to run things at the University of Kansas. I think Brendan Rodgers knows how to run things at Liverpool Football Club. I think if he could get the right signings in, whether it's him or whether it's this mysterious transfer committee, they have to get something right during the transfer window. They have not done that yet in his tenure there. If they can get that going, then I think that he is the right coach tactically for this team, for what they want to do moving forward, for what FSG wants to do in terms of bringing younger talent through. I think he's good at progressing young talent through the system. So, again, it's kind of an American versus European style. I understand that that's what's done in England and Europe in general. You replace the coach like that. But I don't think it's the right thing to do. Let a team grow in a certain system. Don't just say, well, we didn't get a win this week. Let's can the coach and get somebody new. Every once in a while, it's fine to get fresh blood in there. I don't think it's necessarily right every single time. I will support Liverpool if they replace the manager. That is what a fan does. But I hope that if he is brought back, that he doesn't face a season where week 1, if they get a draw, that people are saying, well, get rid of him. Jurgen Klopp is still out there. Let's go after him. Let him have the full season. See how things work out. If a change needs to be made by Christmas, if the team is just absolutely terrible, then everybody will be on board with that. But the people who support Brendan Rodgers are not completely wrong, just as the people who are completely against him are not completely wrong, but they are a little more on the wrong side from my point of view. That is the view from the Midwest. What are your views on the topics that we talked about today? Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. If you're watching on YouTube, comment, rate, and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, share it around with everybody that you know. But until the next time, I'll see you then.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space.